You are watching
Let's
Xirtus.
not assume that Sam Hyde. This is, I think, his version of a schizophrenic break. You know, like what if Altist just recently had like a fucking meltdown? You know, I think a lot of people are reaching like ontological shock, and it's like manifesting in neat ways.
No, he's like he's in his 40s, you know? Like I think it's just he's from Connecticut, you know? Like this is what he's really like,
Yeah,
and he's
Is he
leveling.
cosplaying Trotsky right now?
He broke character.
He is kind of cosplaying Trotsky, but that's not. It's actually put yourself in a man's shoes kind of thing, Andrew. That's the thing. I think a lot of the neoconservatives are Trotskyites. I mean, they all are. Whether some of them are self-aware or not is kind of the issue. But more importantly, there's an important debate here about what is education and whether or not, you know, because some people, a lot of the working class, the proletariat, the petit bourgeoisie even say that education is to get a job, and it's not, right? Education is to better oneself, and the elite understand this. You know, the elite can go to school at Yale to study clowning and Joker history, and you know they can leave without a degree that matters to any sort of job, but a degree that matters to themselves, something that helps better themselves. And so this is also a debate being had. Here's someone accusing him of saying, "Hey, you don't really need to focus so much and emphasize so much on the worker, because the worker is only valuable to an exploitive corporation. Like it's a psychopathic personhood, an immortal psychopathic personhood that's possessed by demons that likes to consume the life of the innocent. That's the only kind of thing that we're interacting with when we say the benefit to your state is a well-educated populace. And instead of saying, well, hey, we want people to be able to just choose to be what they want. Once you reach the point that your parents have a place for you in America, that your family have established themselves, colonized in America, you should be secured and have some sort of autonomy, some autarky. That's all taken away. That's the issue. They don't want anyone to have any sort of autarky. And this was the way of things in times before. People were able to establish themselves and have a village.
Like clans.
And that village clan would exist. And then you could speak whatever language you wanted to. You could exist however you wanted to. This was a quilted civilization. And eventually came lords, because you had highway barons with tariffs for the roads. But then you had lords that exploited each serfdom, right?
And so with tariffs?
Like, okay, so also for this point, I mean, I don't know if we want to expand on that, but we talked a bit about this idea of Kosmopolitik, right? Kosmopolitik is the primordial version of globalism. It's this idea sort of the cosmopolis, you know, a place where everyone can be their own culture. But where do these cultures kind of emerge from? Like America is 48 years old. Germany is 75 years old. Canada is 157 years old. When you start to look at the maps and you see where people were, these are, you know, you can't just say France is France until Napoleon. And even then it's like 1910 where people start to speak French in France. Most people in France are speaking whatever language. There's like 30 different languages that they spoke in France. And there are people outside of France and Germany as well. Like these are all completely extremely random regions. Nationalism, along with the football game thing, this is what's created in order to make you identify as this sort of created state, right?
Yeah, yo, Colin's passed out.
Of course.
Oh,
I was going into YouTube mode, like forgetting I was actually part of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like this is how I roll when I'm alone.
Yeah. No, but Andreas, I hear you though. Like, I don't know. The question is like, yeah, they could take away the means, but do you think they could ever stop humanity from clanning up whenever the need strikes?
well, I mean, that's kind of the thing that's crazy. It's like all of these ideas, like it's never worked yet. So even in Italy, it's like the 1960s that they start getting more than 20% of Italians to speak Italian because of television and things. So it's only in the last maybe like 60 years, 50 years that we've gotten to a point where really there's identity politics that actually exist the way that the state wants them to.
Well, that's
Where
probably
you
like,
identify.
That's probably like a reaction to you. Like you're right. It's like maybe it's because it's like an existential reaction. Like maybe these cultures are like accelerating their viral nature because they feel it. They're like, oh shit. Maybe these cultures have like an intelligence of their own, and they feel that they're dying because of a new world order being formulated, globalism and whatnot.
I don't know how long it can really last that everyone speaks the same language and acts the same way, because it's such a new idea for such a long time, even into the 20th century. It was hundreds of languages being spoken in China, right? And the borders and everything were moving around. And so even just the idea of like a modern state, these are completely new ideas since Napoleon's time, since America. Really.
Tower of Babel.
What about the Tower of Babel? Yeah, I was just you said this shit I was saying. Yeah, Tower of Babel,
Right.
dude. Like maybe it's a good thing to all speak the same language on another note, but maybe it's not, because it led to everybody getting fucked.
Well, look, if everybody can communicate and cooperate.
What do you call it? Whatever that moment of singularity, the singularity moment. And singularity, well, it'd be speaking one world language, and that we're getting to the power of God, or the singularity of creation again, and reaching that point.
Do you think
Where that
that
gets
the
dangerous.
Tower of Babel is another version of Atlantis? I've always kind of like felt like they're like
probably.
mirrored stories.
I was
think
thinking
so.
the tower.
That would make sense.
The fall of the tower, to me, also could have represented the splintering of being able to communicate mentally to communicating verbally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another piece of that puzzle, bro.
Another thing you could consider is like maybe the Tower of Babel was like a dimensional thing. Like people were able to see perceive like shapes, like geometry, and then make that like.
I think it was a portal.
Yeah,
I think it was a portal, dude.
And then when humanity, or when a large enough population can actually collectively see further than their own like present moment, and can actually all think like I don't know, like quantum beings, they could all
exactly.
Yeah, and then that fundamentally changes humanity in a way where it's like individuality starts to really like become either evolved or just completely irrelevant. And that could actually,
because you would have to no longer lie to yourself or lie to others to be able to become part of the collective. So it's like those that are shady would like seal themselves, and the rest of
but then that
society
could cause the destruction of humanity if humanity does
Exactly.
it too quickly.
But
And the leaders.
So it could be that those exact people, the people who were sort of weeded out from the hive mind because of their nature, found a way to start this to form their own language. And if you look at it, I hate to demonize money, but since money, sorry to cut you off, Chris, because money is sort of like the universal language on this planet right now. Because it's a tool that enables us to communicate and to cooperate at like a really big scale. There is that ultimate one sort of, there's a translation or whatever of like converting currency from this to the other, but with like digital currency and even real currency all being digitized anyways, that seems to be the new universal language is commerce.
Well,
and who controls the commerce,
Well, if you break down commerce, then really fundamentally it's energy, because that's like the most basic unit that we could possibly like actually make use of.